part two on actual central banking. I just want to make a quick correction. The other video I mentioned, National City Ranch was called Rancho del Rey. No, it's called Rancho de la Nación. That's the original name. So today I'm going to be touching up on two countries that have actually been uh, taken down for not actually going with the actual centralized banking system. And like I said, they don't care who runs it. They want control of the money. That's all they care about. The interest off that money, you know. So then you have Iraq that gets hit because suppose possession of weapons of mass destruction, right? But none were ever found. That's an actual plot to a Hollywood movie, by the way. Because Saddam was no longer going to trade in US dollar from the oil that came from Iraq. So we went in there, destroyed the majority of the infrastructure, people suffering, people being displaced. America's not getting any kind of actual benefit from it at all. Our oil prices never dropped. We didn't benefit 1 cent, but we paid trillions into it, you know. All while central banking funded the actual money for it at an interest that we had to pay back. Okay. And for any chance, all the money seized in the banks, the gold, that money did not belong to the people of Iraq. It did not belong to the actual people of the United States that conquered it. No. Since the war was funded by the central banks, we have to pay. That's a form of paying it back. So during that time, when we actually left there, we didn't leave it any better. I'm not saying that they was great under Saddam, but at least he had some kind of actual infrastructure in place for people to actually be able to live, go to school, and work. You know, I don't agree with his method of governing, but you know, who else? Who should be given the right to actually dictate what actually happens in other countries? You know. And central banking will do that for you. You know, they will do that for you. They never take no for an answer. Recently here in the US, a family in Kentucky was offered $26 million for a ranch, a cattle ranch, because they wanted to put actual, some kind of a database. I'm not quite sure how they call it. And some kind of technology on that farm. And this family told him no. We'll see how that plays out because, like I said, they don't take no for an answer. You might not actually go along with the sale of it, but I can tell you, your vendors that sell you the product to feed your animals, to run your ranch, we'll get a phone call, we'll get a visit to make it harder for you to run a business. You know? And that's just the reality of it. There's no coincidence with these people. Another example is Libya, and Muammar Gaddafi. He is often painted as a dictator uh, of an evil actual leader of a country. But what we're never taught is that he offered universal health care for his citizens. 100% covered. And he did not want any of his citizens living in the streets. No homelessness. Imagine that. And he was going to go with some kind of currency from Africa, I believe, and it was going to be backed up by gold, which these people hate, because that not only gives you an edge on the value of your currency, but also actual physical mineral instead of the oil-backed dollar from the West. And there's a few countries that actually manage U.S. currency, like Ecuador. They run the dollar. That's their national currency. But Muammar Gaddafi was always trying to help people. He even offered to donate to the actual, what is it called? The Islamics, I think the Islamics. Anyway, so through Louis Farrakhan, he was going to donate $1 million for the actual Nation of Islam. But it's kind of iffy because the sanctions would have never allowed that donation to go through. But Farrakhan spent quite a bit of time with Gaddafi. So now, did they launder the money to him? Maybe. Did it get to the right people that Muammar wanted to get to? I don't know. So now, you have a European country that actually survived through 6 wars. That's really not possible, to survive 6 wars and still have enough money to run your country. But when the agenda is good enough, they'll invest in it, and they'll get help from other family members to run these wars, So remember when we were taught about the actual, there was a coup that happened in 1933, an attempted coup in 1933 to take over the U.S. government. It's called a business plan, right? So they wanted to use 500,000 veteran soldiers to do a military coup to the United States. And they had handpicked a Marine Corps general to convince these troops and to lead these troops into taking over the country. Well, this general turned around, gave all that info to Congress with names. Nobody was ever investigated, nobody was ever prosecuted. Now, forward that to 2025. This administration has actually demonstrated out in public a full-on coup, and yet nobody has been arrested. What else would you call it? There's no other way around it. What else would you call it? Right? So it makes you think, who's really controlling the actual narrative? who's pushing them, but who's actually doing all these decisions. And that's what I'll talk about tomorrow regarding the actual who has the power along with technology. Right, guys. See you guys next time.